guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to show you how to make a valance out of a pillowcase. Alright, so you're just going to take a pillowcase like this one here. Alright, so I'm just going to lay it down here, the pillowcase. This is the open part, and I haven't cut or done anything. It really could use an ironing, but I'll iron it afterwards. I don't feel like ironing right now. Alright, so I am going to add this little fringe to mine because I want it to be a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit extra something. So you can add something if you'd like that, or you can just leave it just like this. Any pillowcase or anything like that would work, or even just a solid piece of fabric that is about this shape. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down along the top here. But if you didn't want to add something to yours, you can just sew straight across like this at the top. So I'm going to measure off how far so I get it equal, and then I'm going to pin that on and then sew it on. But like I said, you don't have to sew anything on yours. All right, so I'm just going to mark off kind of where I want my line to be. I'm going to do mine about 2 inches from the top. So they make things that are meant for this, but I'm just going to use a crayon because it was sitting here. So just a tiny little dot, just every now and then, so that I can kind of see where I'm going with it. Okay, so now that I kind of marked it off, I am going to add my kind of like decoration here, and I had to add this together, so I don't know, we'll see how pretty it is. This is just for my laundry room, so I'm not too terribly worried about the overall look of it because, you know, it's pretty much only going to be me that's looking at it anyway. So yeah, we're just kind of, we're not too uptight here. Alright, so that's where my line is, so I'm just going to put a little pin in. And like I said, if you're not going to add any kind of little doily or anything to the top of yours, you don't need to do this. Just put a pin in across where you kind of marked off so that you can sew an easy straight line. Unless you're really good at staying straight, and then you don't really need to sew a line at all or put the pins in at all because you can sew it straight without them. Or you may just not be particular about how straight it is. It won't be too terribly noticeable if it's not straight when it's up on the thing. Alright, and then put one more in. Alright, now I'm going to move over to the machine, and I'm just going to sew straight across there. Alright, so I was talking to the camera and it wasn't on. Anyway, so you see I sewed it with the back side up. So now when I fold it down, it looks like this. And you could iron that down if you wanted it to stay down better. And then since it's a pillowcase, this side here, you know, is open already. So I just need to open up this side. So I'm just gonna kind of put my scissors in and just kind of cut a little hole there. Which I guess eventually over time it would kind of fray, but well, look, actually the seam on this is pretty loose. So instead, I'm actually just going to take my seam ripper and I'm just going to pop them. Yes. Actually, I don't even need my seam ripper. It's so loose here. This was a really cheap sheets and pillowcases are great for crafts like this because it's cheaper than buying fabric, and yeah, they work out well. Alright, I'm moving. Alright, so I just kind of broke the seam open there, and now it's like that. And the way it's going to sit on the curtain rod, it really shouldn't fray or anything, but if you really wanted to be fancy, you could run your sewing machine around. Like, you'd have to, it'd be kind of hard, or hand stitch it around like that to keep it in. But you know, since it's just gonna be sitting on a curtain rod and not be messed with much, it's not really gonna have a problem. So there's that side. And then for the side here that I have hanging off, I could have wrapped it on around and sewn it on, or I think I'm just gonna cut mine off. All right, so there you have the curtain rod, or the curtain, I'm sorry, a valance. It's not a curtain rod. Anyway, so I'm gonna stick the curtain rod through it and put it up on the window and see what it looks like. And you could always get creative. You can add more, you could add pleats, you can do all kinds of things with it, but that is a basic valance. So there you have a simple white valance. Great, for a little bit more complicated, which it's not going to be complicated, it's still simple, but more complicated than the other one, is I want this part to be like up above the bar instead of the bar being through here. So I am going to I'm going to sew a straight line across here, underneath here, so that the bar goes where this is, and this will hang kind of off the bar. So I am just going to, I think what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna sew just a straight line across, and then I will do kind of the same thing. I'll just open it up. All right, sorry it's noisy in here, my washer and dryer are running, but so this is what I want the end product to look like. So what I did is I took the bottom that was down here and I folded it up and I pinned it right there, so it's just doubled. And then I did the same thing to this side, and then what was in the center there I just kind of pushed together and I pinned. So now I'm going to go and I'm just going to just sew a little line there, a little line here, and I might just hand sew just a tiny little bit here, or machine sew, because you don't want it to show too much because it's going to be right front and center. But that is what it'll look like. So here, I guess I'll show. Sorry. All right, so see, it was down like this, and I just took this in and folded it and put it right like that, and then just sew just right on the front side. I don't think it'll be a big enough seam to really matter. And I'm just gonna do it right where that pin is. All right, that's all I'm gonna do, just a little back and forth. And then I can trim that up in a minute. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side here. I'm just going to And then lastly, because I don't really like sewing things by hand, I am going to do the middle section, and I'm just gonna put it up under here like this. Make sure there's nothing else in the way. And I'm gonna do just super small. Alright, so there was like 4 stitches there. Alright, so let's go hang it up and see what it looks like. Alright, so that's the finished product, and I am pretty pleased with that, especially for just being in my laundry room. I think it's sweet and simple and just gives a little bit of window covering.